Chapter 4. Distract. Be psionic. Days in the future, but not many. The world around you reappears bit by bit. It catches you off guard. Camera feeds should appear all at once in perfect clarity. This isn't pixelated or glitchy like it would be if there was an issue with the camera's connection. Instead, your vision is blurry and hazy. You don't remember what you were doing or why you zoned out. You come to the logical conclusion that this isn't a camera feed. It's imagined. Whatever data they're feeding into your ThinkPan to make it look like you're in a recovery respite block is remarkably detailed. It even simulates touch. You pull the blankets down and sit up, and are unsurprised to feel the ever-familiar unending pain through your arms and down your posture pole, reminding you that you're not really free. You'll always be trapped here. But that means you're still connected to the system. You should be able to just close whatever program this is, right? Why isn't it working? Why isn't anything working? Attempts to shut down the program or view a different feed or send a system message all yield no results. You can't get out. How is your control being overridden? Your breath comes fast and heavy. You're not in control. Does that mean someone else is? Or is there something wrong with you? Did something malfunction? Are you dying? Outside the door, you hear approaching footsteps. What could that mean? Is it just to sell the illusion, or is someone coming for you? 2 sharp knocks on the door resound, making your pump biscuit race. The handle turns, and the face behind the door is your own. Right. So you're dreaming then. Maybe you are dying. Whoa, are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. Not you says, and comes closer. Or, I guess AA looks pretty normal when she talks to ghosts. Not the point. What's wrong? The question echoes in your head. How are you supposed to answer? Who is this? You just stare blankly ahead. Here, can you type? He asks, swiping a palm husk off the table next to you and slipping it into your hands. It's okay if you can't. I just want to help you. You sit frozen, overwhelmed, confused. You've been living a waking daymare for millennia. Shouldn't your subconscious be full of horrors? Other you watches you carefully, and when you don't move, he meets your eyes. Psi? He prompts you. No one's called you that in a long, long time. Can you type, or does it hurt too much to move? Your arms do hurt, but not so much that you can't do anything with them. You look down at the palm husk in your hands. Is this yours? You try unlocking it, and find that it's set to recognize your fingerprint. Aside from the default apps, there's just Trollian. There are only 2 names in your contacts. Your blood pressure drops when you start scrolling through the messages. Messages you must have sent at some point, because they're in your quirk. As you read the most recent conversation in your history, your mind reels, and you remember. You're not trapped. You're not dead. Even if your ThinkPan isn't used to the idea, you really are free, and that's thanks to your descendant. You look up at him wide-eyed now that you recognize him as him, and then you just sigh heavily. Fuck, is this going to keep happening? Is your pan ever going to get the memo, or will the past keep haunting you forever? You start weakly smacking yourself on the forehead out of frustration, but Sollux alarmedly pulls your arm away to make you stop, even though you aren't strong enough for it to hurt. You look down and start typing, feeling defeated. Taciturn Aberration began trolling Twin Armageddons.
I forgot again. Woke up and thought it wasn't real. I forgot you. I forgot what you did. I'm sorry, Sollux.
He sighs in sympathetic despair and bites his lip. It's okay, he says. It's not your fault. Your pan just needs some time to get used to things. You hope that's all it is, but you're not optimistic. You seem fine now, and your memory remains intact after that, but You feel unsettled and uncomfortable for the rest of the night. Over the next several days, at least your physical condition seems all right. Your injuries are healing well, your sleep patterns are becoming more normal, no irregularities or complications to report. Your mood, however, is not so consistent. Most of the time, you're just tired, which is pretty much your equivalent of being fine. It's to be expected, and, as you've noted, you've been sleeping better as you get used to it again. But a couple more times, you wake up and don't remember where you are or what's happened. You panic when you can't access the ship systems or view the feeds, and dread the consequences for evading your duties. You convince yourself that no matter what it looks like, you aren't really free. It's some simulation or test, or the last visions of your dying mind. When Sollux sees you like this, he does his best to assure you that you're safe, but you don't believe it until you remember everything again, and you can't tell him what you're thinking in the meantime. Other times, you lose the patience for damn near everything, agitated by slight inconveniences, and frustrated with your limitations and lack of control. Everything is overstimulating, and you never really have space to yourself. Sometimes it's all too much, and you lash out and shove away people trying to help you when you don't want them to, only to immediately turn apologetic and remorseful. You have a vague feeling you've always been like this to an extent, touchy about things even you don't expect, but your demeanor changing on a dime the moment you think you've unintentionally offended someone. And sometimes you're just in too much pain to do anything except curl up and lie there motionless and miserable. Like right now. Everything fucking hurts. They swear you're healing well, but you feel like total shit. You're used to pain, but it's different and more intense now that you're back in your body. It feels like there are claws digging into your arms every time you move. Your legs are sore from walking. Your head is pounding. You couldn't stand the light long enough to type and just buried your face in your hands until Sollux worked out that you needed him to turn off the lights. Worried by your sorry state, he hasn't left your block since he got here and has apparently been getting Carcat to bring him things so he can stay here to keep an eye on you. You feel a little bad. You're sure he has plenty more to be doing than watching your useless ass. His friends sure seem busy, and he's ignoring their calls to be here with you, despite the period of upheaval the Alternian Empire currently finds itself in, not to mention how uninteresting you are to be around currently. You're pretty sure you haven't moved in hours except to squeeze your eyes shut in pain. Sollux got somebody to bring you painkillers, but they aren't working yet. You're tired, but you can't sleep. You're bored, but you can't move, and you feel bad for being such an inconvenience. Which is a sentiment you texted, to Sollux before, and he firmly insisted that it's not your fault you're injured and disabled, and that he's helping you because he wants to. You can't really refute either of those statements, but you have a hard time believing it's worth the trouble. You figured you were a lost cause since the day they first plugged you in. Usually no one comes back from that. You're still not sure there was much point in getting you out. You're at a complete loss for what to do with yourself, what you even can do with yourself. Desperate for a distraction from your thoughts as much as your pain, you try to reach for your palm husk, only to wince when the motion makes your entire arm feel full of daggers. The faint sound of your movement catches Sollux's attention, but it was all for nothing. Your arm just falls back to where it was. Damn it. How pathetic. You can't move. You can't ask for help. It hurts so much you can barely think. You just want it to stop. Oh, that's new. It seems your body has remembered how to cry. Did you cry much before? You don't remember. The feeling isn't an especially familiar one. You remain impressively silent as your eyes sting and your vision blurs. Then tears spill. Oh, Sollux says quietly. He must have noticed. If you could turn away as he gets up and comes closer, you would, but you feel a little bad for wanting to distance yourself when he gently, sympathetically murmurs, I'm sorry. I wish I could help more. He gingerly reaches toward your hand and lays his on top of it without moving your arm. The gesture is simple, but affectionate. It's about as much touch as you can deal with right now. Still, it's comforting. He keeps his hand there as he just sits down on the floor and rests his head against the mattress, bringing his husk top over psionically and typing one-handed for a moment. You hear quiet music, then a voice, some sort of show or podcast, you think. Sollux turns his head to look at you, as if gauging your reaction. Did he put that on for you? If you want me to change it, just, He flounders a moment, realizing how little you can communicate currently. I don't know. Kick me? Despite all the pain you're in, that makes you snicker a little. It's a half-hearted sound, barely more than an exhale, but enough to assure Sollux that you're well enough to feel amusement. He smiles and turns back to his husk top to keep working. Hours pass like this, quiet but not silent, immobile but not alone. You don't sleep, but eventually the pain ebbs enough that you don't mind. You focus on the warmth of your descendant's hand on yours and ponder, not for the first time, the foreign feeling of being cared for. How long has it been since someone wanted to ease your pain, or let you have a choice in anything, or even gave a shit that you might be bored out of your mind? There was someone, long ago. Someone cared about you, and you cared about them, too. Blurry recollections of colors and feelings bubble up in your mind, remnants of memories from before. As you continue to heal, hazy images of the past keep resurfacing in your head. You can never pin down who or when, but you know enough to know that they were people you loved, and they loved you. You wonder what happened to them. Whoever they were, they're certainly long gone now, and the thought is a little daunting, isn't it, being the last survivor? But somehow, it feels like more survived than just you. Something intangible, something unquantifiable, but more valuable than words can describe. You see it in your descendant and in his friends and allies. Something bright, tiny at first, but so full of potential and hope. It's a weirdly specific feeling for a memory so vague. Anyway, you and Sollux stay there for a long time, listening to whatever show this is while he works. Occasionally he'll look up at you and ask if you need anything, or comment on the shows he's playing you, or explain what he's working on. Even when you can't meaningfully respond, he's engaging with you so you don't feel ignored. At some point, Sollux does get up, but he isn't gone for long, and he makes sure to tell you where he's going before he even moves. He comes back with a snack for himself and a drink for you, something nutritious enough to make up for the fact that you can't move enough to eat right now. He holds the cup in place for you with psionics, and when you're done, he sits back down on the floor and holds your hand again. You're starting to think he finds it just as comforting as you do. Every now and then, someone will call Sollux or stop by in person to talk to him. You've gotten pretty used to this over the last week or so, as his friends have worked out where to find him. Although you'd said you were okay with it before, you didn't really quite expect so much attention. You're powerless to prevent the interruption on the best of days, but you don't want to see the sympathetic way they look at you when you're like this. It appears Sollux is similarly disinclined to humor them at the moment, because if anyone other than Karkat shows up, he doesn't even look up from his screen as he tells them in no uncertain terms to fuck off. You can gauge how much he likes someone by how nicely he tells them to leave. This time, when someone appears at the door, he's gentle when he says, "Hey, I know people are trying to get me to fix their shit, but I'm doing something more important, so please, not now." The rust-blooded girl comes into the block and closes the door behind her. You recognize her. She's stopped by a couple times before, and she and Sollux are clearly very close. The girl, Aradia, that's her name, smiles and waves politely to you as she enters. Then she sees Sollux's hand on yours, and an affectionate giggle escapes her. Sollux, you're very cute, but you know you don't have to be on the floor, right? My posture pole hurts just looking at you. Without looking away from his computer or letting go of your hand, Sollux psionically drags his table and chair over and sits back down. Aradia spares a glance in your direction and shakes her head as if to ask you if you're seeing this shit. If you could, you would tell her that you're no more impressed than she is. She sighs. Okay, well, if you're going to ignore me, I'll just go. Yes, please, Sollux mumbles and keeps typing, missing Aradia's expression of offense. You flick your hand up against his. You'd have smacked it if you could move the rest of your arm. I mean, I only wanted to check on you because I miss you and I'm worried about you, Aradia continues pointedly. But if you're dead set on being an asshole, I guess I wasted my time. Before she can turn toward the door, Sollux finally looks up at her with a sigh. Wait, he says, and reaches out to her. She waits. I'm sorry, AA. I shouldn't have said that. That was uncalled for. He stands up suddenly and goes up to hug her, resting his head on her shoulder. I miss you too. Sorry for being a bitch just now. It's okay, she tells him and pulls an arm around him. I know what you're like when you're sleep-deprived. No offense taken. What? I'm not sleep-deprived. She squints at him skeptically. Karkat said you got up before he did tonight. Yeah, so? Sollux swipes his palm husk off the table, and his eyebrows raise when he sees the time. I did not know it had been that long. Now you see why I'm worried? Why Karkat's worried? Hey, I'm okay, really, he promises. Tell KK I'll be there soon. He turns and looks back to you, and his voice comes back quieter. I don't want to leave Psi alone. He can barely communicate right now, and it'll probably be hard to get to sleep. I just want to be here if he needs something. I get it. Karkat gets it too. Just promise you'll ask for help if you need it. Don't just wear yourself down to nothing when you don't need to. I won't. I'll go to sleep after Psi does. Okay, Aradia whispers and lets go of Sollux, dropping a quick kiss on his cheek before turning toward the door. I'll see you two tomorrow then. Sounds good, Sollux agrees. It turns out to be really fucking hard to get to sleep. Just moments ago you were feeling better. Maybe the meds worked, or maybe your unexpected visitor just provided a good distraction. But as soon as you start trying to fall asleep, the pain comes back to keep you awake. As the hours stretch on, you see Sollux getting tired. He's long since stopped working in favor of some game you don't recognize, but now he's lost the focus for that too, and instead just rests his head in his hand and idly scrolls through Chitter. Despite the time, he's keeping his promise of staying awake and keeping you company until you fall asleep. He's even still talking to you every now and then, sleepily mumbling ideas for how to fix problems in his projects, or noting things he wants to remind himself to do later, or even just telling you how much meeting you has meant to him, and how relieved he is that you're safe. It's hard to feel too upset when you know that his most genuine internal thoughts, the ones he doesn't voice when he's awake enough to have a filter, are of his gratitude for your survival and his determination to help you however he can. Maybe it's that comfort that allows your eyes to drift closed and your awareness to go fuzzy at the edges. You're not quite asleep, but this is almost as good, probably. You swim back to consciousness when you hear a voice that's not Sollux's, followed by one that is. But would it kill you to look at a fucking clock once in a while? It's so late, it's early. Congratulations, you've looped back around. KK, you know as well as I do, that's far from the worst I've ever been. Sollux's voice is low and rumbly with exhaustion. Karkat exhales sharply in an attempt to vent his frustration without getting too loud. You're such a fucking idiot. You know that doesn't make it better. God, I swear, everyone I know would fall apart without me to keep them in check. Sollux, I know you love doing everything on your own, but you have limits. You can't just keep running infinitely. I wasn't trying to. Sollux mumbles weakly.
What I'm trying to say is you can ask for help. You're not going to be very good at taking care of other people if you don't take care of yourself, too.
Sollux tries to argue, but can't get out more than a word or two before starting over. Having failed to finish any of his sentences, he trails off and just stares blankly at nothing in particular.
Yeah, okay. Your think pen doesn't work anymore.
Karkat sighs. Sollux leans forward and rests on Karkat's chest, reaching up for his shoulder, but not quite grasping it. Karkat cradles Sollux's arm in his and gives it a little pat, leaning in to murmur,
Do you want me to stay here so you can go pass the fuck out?
Sollux hums sleepily and uncertainly before turning back to look at you.
Are you okay with that?
He asks you.
I won't leave if you don't want me to.
You nod as vigorously as you can and carefully lift your arm to wave him away with a hand. He laughs a little and concedes. All right. If you want me out of here that bad, I'll go. I'll message you when I wake up.
Yes, go!
Karkat says and shoves Sollux towards the door.
Both of you, get some rest already.
Well, you have your orders. Sollux disappears down the hall and Karkat settles into the newly empty chair. You close your eyes and try to sleep again. It takes a while, but you finally succeed. You're somewhere cold and dim, but you feel so full of warmth and light. You're safe, for now, and you're surrounded by the 3 people you trust more than anyone else in the universe. They're your friends, your team, your family. The word feels foreign in your mind, and yet it's familiar and welcoming. They feel like home, no matter where you find yourselves. They're laughing and talking, and you don't quite catch what story is being told or what playful argument is being had, but you're laughing along. The ferocious-looking olive girl at your side barks out a hearty laugh, and her voice is rough but filled with affection.
At least tonight you noticed in time. We were about ready to rush in and drag you out of there, weren't we, Sai?
She says and pats your shoulder. Rosa was barely holding me back, you snicker. I was sparking all over the place. It sounded like a storm had just rolled in. The red one smiles sheepishly, and your blood pressure flutters in every quadrant.
Oh, you all know I don't mean to worry you so much, right? I just get so swept up in my ideas and...
We know, dear, the older jade lady next to him says gently. But you could stand to pay a little more attention to what's going on around you.
Yeah, don't get your ass kicked, you chortle, or else Dis and I'll kick it extra.
You'd have to catch me first, the cute mutant scoffs, igniting spades in your eyes.
Is that a challenge?
You can't suppress the evil grin that spreads across your face as you pretend like you're about to stand up, prompting him to get up first and run away. Without hesitation, you sit back down and grab him with your psionics, lifting him off the ground by the cloak and watching him flail in the air and shout incoherently. You and Dis burst into laughter again, and even his mother can't hide her amusement.
You!
He growls and points a finger at you when you finally set him down. He charges and throws himself at you like he's going to hit you, but you catch him in a hug instead. Just like that, he decides he's content to sit right here between both of his partners in the warm glow of the flickering campfire. You can almost still feel the warmth of your loved ones next to you as you wake up. That was an actual memory, wasn't it? It was even clearer than any of the ones you've had before. That's probably a good sign for your recovery. You can still see their faces in your mind as you look across the block to Karkat in time to see him get so startled he nearly drops his palm husk when he sees you're awake. He looks just like... An ache swells up in your chest. You had partners, quadrant mates. One of them looked just like Karkat. You don't quite remember their names, what you were doing together, how you met them. But you remember how you felt just looking at them, the chaotic blend of affection and annoyance and pity that flooded you. They were everything to you. You would have moved mountains for them, given all you had to keep them safe, done anything to see them smile. And then you lost them. Or maybe they lost you. And until now, you didn't remember them enough to miss them. In a way, you lost them twice. You don't exactly start crying, but your expression must give away some part of your thoughts anyway, because Karkat hurries to your side and asks,
"Are you okay? What's wrong? Does it hurt?"
He makes Sollux seem chill in comparison. Something about Karkat's frantic combination of care and panic is strangely familiar. You slowly shake your head no and clumsily reach for your palm husk. Karkat breathes a sigh of relief when he sees that you can move and holds up his own palm husk. He knows the drill by now. Taciturn aberration. Begin trolling carcinogeneticist.
I'm okay. Doesn't hurt too bad.
Which is to say that it does hurt, but not as bad as yesterday?
Yeah.
That's good. Feel free to tell me to back off if you don't want to tell me, but is something else wrong? You seemed upset. If I can help, I want to.
You're tempted to take the opportunity not to answer. You haven't quite sorted out how you feel. After an uncomfortably long pause, you reply,
I'm okay.
Karkat squints at you suspiciously over the top of his palm husk as he types. This, too, feels like an expression you've seen before.
Convincing. Like me when I claim to know what I'm doing in pretty much any given situation. You don't have to tell me. I know we aren't especially close.
Maybe closer than you think. You remind me of someone from before.
Karkat's eyes light up with surprise.
You remembered something from Alternia?
You nod and look back down to elaborate.
I had a dream. Think it's a memory. Someone who looked like you.
You remembered my ancestor? I know you knew him, but there aren't a lot of surviving records about him, so I don't know much more than that.
Neither do I. Don't remember where we were or what we were doing, but it was me and him and two more.
An Olive and a Jade?
Yes. You know who they are?
The Disciple and the Dolorosa? They were the Signless's closest followers. As were you, of course. The four of you traveled together to build my ancestors' rebellion.
Emotion wells up in you the moment you read their names and start to remember who they were, what they were like. Your mind floods with love and respect and grief and guilt. How could you have forgotten anyone so important?
We did. But we were more than that. Family.
Family?
Like if home was a person, not a place. Us four were each other's home.
I think I understand. You're safe with each other. You know each other so well you don't have to hide anything.
Exactly. But we also... Sign and Dis and I were... I don't know what to call it. Maybe didn't call it anything. Us three were together. Not one quadrant. A mess of all of them and more.
Like me and Sollux,
Karkat whispers.
I know what you mean. I guess the blood isn't the only weird thing I got from my ancestor.
You nod with a wistful smile.
You remind me so much of him. Even though don't remember, sometimes feel so familiar. How you can keep arguing forever, always want to help everyone. The look you give Sollux when you know he's lying. Your volume, your word count. Even look just like him.
You look up at him, maybe a little too intensely. As much as Sollux resembles you, which is a lot, Karkat looks so much like his ancestor that if both of them were in the same place, you might mistake them for each other. Karkat looks back at you, astonished, and your confused pump biscuit ties itself in knots when you picture the same expression on Signless. A messy sniffle escapes you as your vision blurs.
Sorry. Remembering is... Didn't know I missed them so much. Doesn't hurt if don't know.
It's okay. I understand. It must be hard, having forgotten so much loss. It's like losing them all over again, isn't it? We don't have to talk about it anymore, if it hurts too much.
Maybe. But I'm glad to talk to you. Universe needs more people like him. Like you. You're doing good.
Taciturn aberration ceased trolling carcinogeneticist. You set down your palm husk to wipe your face and look up at Karkat with a wobbly smile, which he returns as his own eyes well up.
Fuck, you can't just drop that on me and leave.
He breathes with a weak chuckle, blotting his tears away with his sleeve.
What? I know Sollux so I can read you, but you know Signless so you can read me. Is that how it works?
You nod in agreement. That sounds pretty fair to you.